Will Ainsworth,
Here.
Caleb,
Here.
get your video fixed. Hey, how about that? Brody,
Yeah, I'm here.
Joe,
Yeah, I'm here.
Joe Bevilacqua, Morgan Brady, Ryan,
Here.
Joe said he's here, but his mic's not working.
I saw that. How about that, huh? Drake,
Here.
Charles D. Pasquale,
Here.
Martin,
Right here.
are you asleep?
What was that?
Are you laying down in bed?
I am. Yeah, I do.
We prefer to have you sit up.
All right.
Thank you. Dejor,
Here.
Bobby,
I'm here.
oh, you're not in the library.
No, I made it back.
Bailey,
Here.
Busse,
Here.
Owen,
Here.
Alex Holden,
Yeah, here.
James Johnson,
Here.
well, with that jersey on the wall behind you, it really looks like you have a funny hat on.
I'll have to move.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. Just makes me do a double take every time. Brooke,
Here.
Jack, Kenny,
Here.
Elias,
Here.
Matt,
Here.
Mike Mandola,
Here.
Paige Miller,
Here.
Matt Morgan,
Here.
Brandon Morrow,
Here.
where?
Right
There
here.
you are. Okay. Connor O'Brien,
Here.
Matt O'Donoghue, Donahue,
Yep, here.
Shane,
Here.
Jesse,
Here.
Ryan,
Here.
where? Oh, there you are. Okay. Zoya,
Here.
Marco,
Here.
Grace,
Here.
Nick Slattery,
Here.
where?
Right here.
Okay, good. Yeah. Carrie Smith,
Here.
Chris Starkweather,
Here.
say it again, Chris.
I'm right here.
All right, I see you. David Styria,
Here.
Nolan,
Here.
Sean?
Here.
Okay. A lot of you. I need help. You know, and I explained to you the other day that because there's a number of pages of you, you don't come to the front page unless you speak. So, like when you say you're here, suddenly a box pops up with you in it. Otherwise, I don't see you. Amazing, isn't it? All right, guys, how is everybody? Is everybody trying to get used to this new world we live in? Kind of hard, huh? I got to try to, I want to try to make this as good of an experience for you as I can. And I don't say that as a platitude. I really hope that we can make this a decent experience, you know? So how did people make out with, well, first of all, let's go to, what I'm going to do first is put you in the groups. So there's like 41 of you or something. And let me just have a look at our assignment, the homework. So on Zoom, on Moodle, there's chapter 1, homework problems. There are 4 of them. So I'm going to make 4 groups. So you'll each be in a group with like 9 other students. And I want you to get into your group and talk about it and talk with each other about whatever else you feel is important. But then after about 15 minutes or so, we'll come back and discuss it, okay? And have a representative from your group talk about each part of the problem. Sounds like fun, right, Grace?
Yeah.
Could you send that again? I'm sorry, I missed the click. I accidentally pressed don't join. Sorry about that. Oh, wait, no, I got you. Join breakout room. Sorry about that.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Who had question 1?
We did.
So what would you do?
We do a randomized experiment, and we might take kids who don't do as well and put them in smaller classes and see if they do better, and put kids that usually do better and put them in larger classes.
Why might you expect a negative correlation between class size and test score?
Because in a smaller class, you get more individualized attention. Like kind of how this class has a lot more people, you might do worse in this class than if it had like 20.
Right. That's not necessarily going to happen, though.
No, I'm just saying, as an example.
I know. What are some other reasons it may happen as a result of why you might expect a negative correlation? Some others of you jump in and help out here. What else is likely to contribute?
Teacher teaching the class, too. Every teacher, everybody's not gonna have the same teacher, so the teacher might vary, I guess.
Teacher might give out less work.
In a big class?
Yeah.
I mean, that in both ways. Even if in a smaller class you have a bad teacher, might relate to negative or bad test scores.
Yeah, okay. I agree. The teacher has a lot to do with it. I'm trying to get you to think outside the box, right? If you were making some sort of a regression here, there would be other factors that you need to consider, right? For example, in an affluent neighborhood, those class sizes are likely to be smaller. Am I right? Because the municipality of a more affluent neighborhood would say, hey, we need 2 or 3 fourth grade teachers, right? But in an inner city school where maybe they don't have the resources, they're going to put 50 kids in with some teacher, right? So the median income of the community where the school is located is going to reflect that class sizes are smaller. But also, it's going to reflect that those kids probably have either nannies or parents that spend more time teaching them or spend more time with them in general. Do you think that would have a positive effect on how they score? Do you see what I'm trying to say? You may also have a principal at the school say, hey, you know what? I want you to take all the bright kids and put them in a special class that's smaller than the other classes. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. Would a negative, so given that what I've just said, would a negative correlation necessarily show that smaller class size cause better performance?
If all confounding factors were accounted for, it could, but sometimes it's not always realistic.
Right. It's not likely that we're going to be able to cover all those non-confounding factors, right?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you. How about number 2?
Yeah, so for question 1, we said that the only variable they are looking at is job training for how productive the workers are.
What does ceteris paribus mean?
Like how one variable affects the other variable.
No, holding all else constant.
Oh.
So we're saying, does job training affect worker output, holding everything else constant? But there's a lot of other things, right? They
Yeah.
would have to be identical in all respects. In other words, the way the innate ability of the workers. Sorry. God, it's so freaking hot in here right now. Sorry, guys. Okay. Does it seem likely that a firm's decision to train its workers will be independent of their characteristics? What are some of those measurable and unmeasurable?
We said that firms tend to provide job training based on characteristics of workers. And the characteristics that could be measured by the firm are like experience, education, their productivity. And then some unmeasurable worker characteristics include like their knowledge, their work ethic, and like their skill sets that they might have.
Do you think employers would provide training to the more experienced worker, to the better worker, or the less capable worker?
Probably the less capable.
But it could go both ways, right?
Yeah.
Name a factor other than worker characteristics that can affect worker productivity.
Like their working conditions, like the technology that's available to them.
Sure, if they're using a laptop from 1992, or if they're using a brand new iPad Pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, okay, how about number 3? Did we do number 2? No. If you find a positive correlation, would you have convincingly established job training makes workers more productive?
We said no because it only shows that the variables are related. It doesn't show causation.
Okay. What if you randomly assigned the training? In other words, just like we said with the 4th graders, right? You randomly choose your workers. Then it might show it. Yeah, that training helps.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. Does it make sense to characterize the problem as whether study causes work or work causes study?
We said it does not make sense to characterize the problem as inferring whether one variable causes the other because a student simply has a fixed number of hours in a week to choose between studying and working.
Yeah, they could either work or not, right? Work or study, depends on whatever, right? Okay, number 4. Oh, the taxation one.
Okay, so for our first question, or what we were supposed to do was estimate the effect of corporate tax rates on gross state product. So for our first question, what kind of data would you need to collect statistical analysis? We said historical data, which kind of leads into the next question because we answered that it's not feasible to do a controlled experiment because you just tax some corporations and not others because it's not fair.
But you could collect data, couldn't you?
Yeah, like historical data, like pull from like things that have already happened.
What kind of data would you want? Anybody?
Primary and secondary data.
What? Joe?
Primary and secondary data.
What do you mean by that? I'm not following.
You probably wanna, I don't know, I'd probably go, that's what I would say. I'd probably say like secondary data. That's what I would go for.
Well, you would be looking for data like economic data, like consumption, consumption index, or how much investment is going on in that economy. How much are they exporting or importing? Those kinds of numbers that would go into quantifying economic growth. Yeah, I was looking for more specifics, like those kinds of numbers. So you could do an experiment comparing, consumption, investment, exports between different regimes that are similar except for their tax rate. Right? That would make sense. And you could say, oh, look, reducing taxes helped stimulate investment, which would be your likely hypothesis, I think, But is it likely to be convincing? There's a lot of other things that go into this equation, aren't there? So it's not likely to be convincing. Yeah, it would not behoove you to advise that municipality to raise or lower taxes based on your study, because there's a lot of other things that would affect the productivity of that economy. Okay. Anybody have questions? All right. So that was chapter 1. Well, also I wanted to look at the computer exercises in chapter 1. Did you guys see those? On Moodle, there is on the chapter 1 problems, down at the bottom, there are 2 computer problems. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can. You're looking at my Moodle?
Yeah.
So chapter 1 problems here. Use the data in wage.1 for this exercise. Average education level, average hourly wage, wage data reported in 1976 dollars, et cetera, et cetera. So I want to talk about R and talk about solving this problem. How many of you looked at the videos and or downloaded R and R Studio? Yeah? I'm going to walk through it, okay? And the nice thing is that, of course, I post the recording of our class. So if I just walk through it and you watch, then you could do it yourself later and watch the videos. Download R. I'm going to do this because I have an old version of R. I'm going to use case. I have a Windows machine. And I just downloaded it. R is all open source.
I think you got to click the download R's blue line at the top.
Is somebody asking a question?
I think in order to download it, you have to click on the download R for Windows at the top. Yeah, right there.
Yeah, I did that. So you see, this is the background R. It's the original version of R. So, you know, you can see that there's all kinds of stuff available for you. All right. The next thing that on our Moodle page, on your Moodle page, is RStudio. RStudio is a front end. So you need to get R, and then you need to get RStudio and put it in front. It allows you to write code and save files and all kinds of stuff, right? Now, I'm not going to go through the download process because, of course, I already have it, and we just watched my machine install it. So I'll just go and I'll open my already opened version of RStudio. Okay, everybody cool? So this textbook that I've asked you to get, well, you don't have to get it because you can read it here online free because I've provided you the link. But this has code for doing different things. If you come back to our Moodle page, the real textbook which was this, remember? Has a companion site, which I put on Moodle for you. It has data sets. If you click on data sets, right? Let me go back and show you what I'm doing. Student companion site for the main textbook. Data sets. Notice that these data sets come in a whole host of different formats. A format for R, a format for Minitab, which is another statistical language, Excel, eViews, and Stata. You want R. So when you go get this data set, right, watch what I'm doing. I downloaded this file. It needs to be extracted. This is all the data. Remember, this homework assignment, C1, used the data wage.1 for this exercise. Find average education, et cetera, right? So when it says to do that, here's the data set. So the link to it is on Moodle and it comes with the book, okay? So when you extract that file, right, from this zip file, you need to put it in a place, and here's what I recommend. Right, this is my computer. I have a folder for econometrics. I have another folder, R data. I took all that data that I got from the textbook for all the different examples in the textbook and stored it on my computer in this folder, R data. We also have grades for students from previous years and whatever, right? But so look at, I also have our scripts. Here's chapter 1, problem 1. So here's a Word doc of the code for chapter 1. So when you're watching this later, you can open this up and say, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong, okay? Here's the code, the same exact code, chapter 1, problem 1, in the R script. This will open in RStudio. So look at, I always start any R code with these 5 lines, 6 lines. Actually,
Frozen?
go ahead.
Is your screen frozen? Because
No.
I've been doing like the same thing for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, same here.
I can't see it either.
What are you looking at?
Me either.
Says
Look at the data sets.
This?
Yeah, we can see that.
All right, I'm sorry. I think that's a internet problem. What do you see now?
We see your R Studio.
All right. You guys saw me download this, right? And did you see me? Can you see now that I have this this folder open on my computer?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Sorry. So this R Studio, this is the code to solve Chapter 1, Computer Problem 1. Which is this problem. Okay? I always start, and you're looking at my R Studio, right?
Yeah.
I always start any code. So what I do is I just take a piece of code that I've written before and copy it. Yeah? I'll copy this. So list all the objects currently in workspace. When I hit run, it runs that in the console down below. If I hit run again, remove all variables from workspace. You have to do that because R will remember that if you named a variable something, the next time you open R, it will use that variable. So even though you may have named something, X is equal to all the ages of students in my class, the next time you open R, it will think X is the name of all your students in the class, or the age, or whatever I said, okay? Cat F is simply the keystrokes associated with Control L, which clears your workspace. I always like to clear the workspace so I know what I'm doing. I don't have a load of crap up there. Find the directory R is using, and you need to set this. So run that. It's using C users M Gallagher documents. So let me open up my Windows Explorer. When you say to R, set working directory, parentheses, quotes, C:// users M Gallagher documents. In Windows or in Mac, it's all in backslash. So you have to change that to /. And then I think I told you that I put all those data files in a place on my computer called R data in a folder called econometrics. which is in a folder of all my documents, which is in this PC folder. So I'm telling R, that's where I want to work, where this information is. Set working directory to C/user/mgallagher/documents econometrics R data. Okay? Load the data you want. Run this line of code. Load the data that you want. Load wage.1R data, right? Which is from here. Because I downloaded it from the books, from the textbook, all the data sets, yeah, from the student companion site. Then it says the question, answer the questions, average, lowest, highest level of education. So the mean data $ of education is 12.56. Let's open up the question again. Are you looking at my Moodle page right now?
Yes.
Okay. Chapter 1 problems. Find the average education level in this sample of data. I loaded the data here. Average level of education is the mean of a column called education. So let's do this again. I'm going to run up to here, which shall clear the console. Okay, run this code. Run, load the data. Did you notice the data pop up here on my upper right-hand corner? I'll do it again. Everything is blank, right? Global environment, the console, there's nothing going on right now. Now, run this, and look, here's the data. 526 observations of 24 variables. If I click on that, it loads it. So we have wage, education, experience, blah, 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 all these freaking variables in this data set, okay? Notice education. Notice in my code, the question says, the question is asking, what is the average of education? So the code to do that is to say, I want the mean of data set data, $ column education, right? If I run that piece of code, the mean of that column, education, 526 of them, is 12.56. Okay? Come back to the code up here. What's the minimum number of years? 0. What's the maximum number of years? 18. Calculate the mean of the column named wage. What's the average wage? That would be the next question. $5.89. And then I'm going to stop right there, okay? Because I don't want to overwhelm you. I'm simply answering these questions. $5.89. Does that seem high or low? How many of you want to work for $5.89? How many think it's low? Very good. We don't work for $5.89. But we learned in economics something, didn't we? How to convert dollars from a period of time to a current dollar, right? And when you studied economics with Wilson or Moe or whoever, you used the CPI, didn't you? For that time period. And the wage data are reported in $1976. So we'll have to change that. But for the time being, you're looking at my Moodle page again?
Yeah.
For the time being, oh, hang on. There's all this stuff. These are all in the beginning pages of Moodle. How to get R, these are all videos I've made to help you get started. Some basic commands, how to run a regression. These are ideas I mentioned the other day. You're going to have to do a project, okay? We're in this week right here. I put up a video of our last class, and tonight I will put up a video of today's class. You have the code to answer that question, and you have the code to answer the second question. You have the videos to get RStudio. You have everything you need to get started, okay? Does it seem overwhelming? Will some of you promise that you will try to have a go at some of this over the weekend? My motivation is that this is useful for you in the job market. Yeah, you should know something besides Excel. Yeah, and you can, with the format that I'm using, you can always download that data in Excel, and because everybody knows how to say, oh, I want the average of this column in Excel, right? So allow me to motivate why I'm doing this. Because some of you are thinking, why can't I just do this in Excel? I already know how to do that, right? How many of you are thinking that? Because if you were to take if you wanted to run a regression or a variance covariance matrix to see how much risk you're adding to a portfolio, you might want to take 50 years of daily data. So in Excel, 50 years of daily data across a 50 asset portfolio would be like 12,000 lines of data and 50 columns. So that's really unwieldy when you're working with Excel. But if you can code that information in a program like R or eViews or Python, it becomes very, very easy. Yeah, the world is becoming big data oriented. So Excel isn't going to cut it. That's why I want to do this. All right? Does anybody have questions? I'm going to cut you loose because I feel like I shocked you.
Only a little.
Should I not worry about that? Okay, here's your assignment for over the weekend, yeah? I want you to tell me on Tuesday how this works for you. In other words, play with it and say, you know, it was really helpful to have that video. Or I got it to work. I can't believe I got it to work. You know, tell me what you think and what we need to do differently. All right?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That's enough. We'll
Thanks
come
a
back on Tuesday and we'll play a little more. And then I've got to get into reviewing math. All right?
All right.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
You too.
You too.
Thank you.
Have a
Take care.
Hey, Mr. Gallagher. So, what you think best course of action should be?
Send Wilson an email saying I said it was okay for you to get into money and banking, and he's got to tell the registrar to add you.
Okay, I emailed the registrars. Since Giles has been gone, I've been a little bit in limbo with my advisor, who my new advisor is. So, I'll have to get a hold of Wilson again, like I did last semester.
Giles is back.
Is he? I didn't hear. I haven't heard anything. So.
Yeah, I think Giles is back, but Wilson has got to send an email to the registrar.
All right, sounds great. Thank you.
Hey, you weren't in money and banking at all?
No. I tried to get in last year, but I couldn't get a spot. So no.
Did you, do you know anybody who's in it with Amira?
I don't.
No.
So my class schedule is pretty full, and it's kind of tough to. That schedule's like right in between like some other classes that I have to get into. So it's like figuring out my schedule's been a little bit tough over the last few months.
All right, Shane.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
Okay, man.
Have a good one.